In the year 1923, a British explorer named Edward Ashworth vanished into the Himalayan mountains, searching for something that most people believed did not exist. He had spent 7 years following fragments of an ancient map, pieces of leather and bone scattered across monasteries from Nepal to the far reaches of Tibet, each piece guarded by monks who would not speak of what the complete map revealed. When Ashworth finally assembled all 9 fragments, what he saw changed everything he believed about the world. The map showed a hidden valley, a place that appeared on no official record, a sanctuary where Tibetan monks had protected a single secret for over 1,000 years, a secret they claimed could transform the very nature of human consciousness. Ashworth wrote one final letter to his sister in London before beginning his journey into that valley. The letter was discovered 60 years later in the archives of the British Museum, and in it he described something remarkable. He wrote that he had met a monk at the edge of the forbidden territory, an old man with eyes that seemed to hold centuries of knowing, and this monk had told him that very few outsiders had ever been permitted to enter the valley. But Ashworth, the monk said, had been expected. His arrival had been prophesied in texts written 800 years before his birth. Tonight you are going to follow the path that Edward Ashworth walked. You are going to enter that hidden valley not as an explorer or a seeker, but as someone who has also been expected, someone whose arrival was written about long ago, someone who is ready to receive what has been kept safe for 1,000 years. And as you settle into wherever you find yourself right now, as you let your body grow comfortable and your breath grow slow, know that you do not need to do anything special to prepare. The valley will open itself to you. The monks are already waiting. The secret has been kept long enough, and now, finally, it is time for you to hear it. But first, let me tell you about the valley itself, because understanding where you are going will help you arrive there more completely, more peacefully, more ready to receive what awaits you. The valley sits at an altitude where most maps simply show white space, unmarked and unnamed, high above the tree line, where the air is thin and cold and carries sounds across impossible distances. It is surrounded on all sides by peaks that rise like silent guardians, their faces covered with ice that has not melted in 10,000 years, their summits hidden in clouds that never seem to move. There is only one way into the valley, a narrow passage through the mountains that can only be found by those who already know where it is, a gap in the rock that appears, from any distance, to be nothing more than shadow. The monks who live in this valley belong to an order so old that its origins have been forgotten even by those who study such things. They do not call themselves by any name that outsiders would recognize. Among themselves, they use a word that translates roughly as the keepers, though what they keep has remained unknown to the outside world for generations beyond counting. Their monastery was not built in the usual sense. It was carved directly into the mountain itself, room by room, corridor by corridor, over a period of 300 years, by monks who believed that sacred spaces should not be constructed but revealed, uncovered from the living rock like sculptures waiting to emerge. And at the heart of this monastery, in a chamber that no outsider has ever seen, there is something that the monks have guarded since the very first of their order arrived in this valley. It is not a treasure in the way that most people understand treasure. It is not gold or jewels or ancient artifacts. It is something far more valuable, something that kings and emperors have sought and never found, something that the monks believe has the power to change anyone who experiences it directly. They call it, in their language, the sleeping truth. And tonight, after 1,000 years of waiting, you are going to discover what that truth is. But we must go slowly. We must approach with patience and with care. The monks have always said that the secret cannot be rushed, that it reveals itself only to those who are willing to take the journey step by step, breath by breath, moment by moment. And so, let us begin the way all such journeys begin, with a single step, a single breath, A single moment of willingness to leave behind everything you think you know and enter a world where different rules apply. Imagine now that you are standing at the base of the Himalayan mountains in a small village where the air smells of wood smoke and juniper, where prayer flags flutter in a breeze that comes down from the high peaks, carrying with it a coldness that speaks of glaciers and eternal snow. The village is quiet at this hour, its stone houses dark, its narrow streets empty, except for a single figure waiting for you beneath a wooden archway carved with symbols you do not recognize. This figure is a monk, though he does not look like the monks you may have seen in photographs or films. He is younger than you expected, perhaps 40 years old, with a face that is weathered by sun and wind, but still somehow soft, still somehow kind. His robes are not the bright saffron of lowland monasteries, but a deep burgundy, almost brown, the color of dried blood or autumn leaves, and they are wrapped tightly around him against the cold. When he sees you approaching, he does not smile, but something in his eyes changes, something that tells you he has been waiting for this moment, waiting for you, perhaps for longer than you can imagine. He speaks, and his voice is low and calm, and though he uses words from a language you have never heard, somehow you understand him perfectly, as though the meaning of his words bypasses your ears entirely and arrives directly in your mind. "You have come," he says. "As it was written, you have come. I am called Tenzin, and I will be your guide through the passage and into the valley. But before we begin, there is something you must understand. The journey we are about to take is not merely a journey through space. It is a journey through time, through memory, through layers of reality that most people never see. You will experience things that your mind may struggle to accept. You will feel things that your heart may struggle to hold. But you must trust me, and you must trust yourself, and most importantly, you must trust the process. The secret will reveal itself when you are ready, and not one moment before." He turns and begins to walk, and you follow, your footsteps falling into rhythm with his, your breath synchronizing with his breath without any conscious effort on your part. The path leads out of the village and up into the foothills, winding between boulders that seem to have been placed deliberately, like markers on a trail that only certain people can see. The stars above are brighter than any stars you have ever seen, so bright that they cast faint shadows. And the moon is not visible, but its light is there somehow, diffused through clouds that glow with a soft silver radiance. Tenzin does not speak as you walk, and you do not feel the need to fill the silence with words. The silence itself is comfortable, companionable, like the silence between old friends who have known each other so long that speech has become optional. Your body finds its rhythm on the climbing path, your legs growing warm with the effort, your lungs expanding to take in the thin mountain air. And with each step, you feel something falling away from you, some weight you had been carrying without realizing it, some burden that has no place on this journey, in this valley, in this night. After what feels like hours but could be minutes, the path levels out onto a small plateau, and Tenzin stops. Before you is a wall of rock, sheer and unbroken, rising into the darkness like the face of an impossible cliff. There is no gap, no passage, no way forward that you can see, just stone, ancient and immovable, blocking the way. But Tenzin walks directly toward the wall, and as he does, something extraordinary happens. The stone begins to shimmer, like heat rising from hot sand, and where there was solid rock a moment ago, there is now an opening, a narrow cleft just wide enough for a person to pass through, leading into darkness that seems deeper than ordinary darkness, more absolute, more complete. "This is the threshold," Tenzin says, turning to face you. "Beyond this point, the outside world cannot follow. Your worries cannot follow. Your fears cannot follow. Everything that has troubled your mind, everything that has burdened your heart, must be left here at the entrance. You will find them waiting for you when you return, if you wish to reclaim them. But most who pass through this threshold discover that they no longer want what they once carried. They discover that they are lighter without it, freer, more truly themselves. He reaches out and places his hand on your shoulder, and the touch is warm despite the cold air, warm and reassuring and somehow familiar, as though you have known this man in another life, another time, another version of this story that has been repeating itself across centuries. Are you ready? He asks. And you realize, standing there at the edge of the impossible passage, that you have been ready for this moment your entire life. Every path you have walked has been leading here. Every question you have asked has been preparing you for this answer. Every night you have lain awake, wondering about the meaning of things, has been a rehearsal for this night, when meaning itself will finally be revealed. You nod, and Tenzin nods in return, and together you step forward into the passage, leaving the known world behind. The passage is narrow, so narrow that your shoulders brush the walls on either side, and the walls are not cold as you expected, but warm, almost alive, pulsing with a subtle energy that you can feel through your clothing, through your skin, through the very cells of your body. The darkness is complete for a few steps, and then, gradually, a light begins to grow ahead, not the light of torches or candles, but something else, something that seems to come from the air itself, from the stone itself, from the very fabric of reality in this place that exists outside all maps. The passage widens, and the light grows stronger, and suddenly you emerge into the valley, and what you see there takes your breath away. The valley is larger than it has any right to be, larger than the mountains surrounding it could possibly contain, as though space itself bends differently here, as though the ordinary rules of geometry have been politely asked to wait outside. It is filled with a soft golden light that has no visible source, a light that seems to emanate from everything equally, from the grass and the trees and the water and the air. There are buildings carved into the mountainsides, windows glowing with warm amber, pathways winding between gardens that bloom with flowers you have never seen, colors you have never imagined, forms that seem to shift and change as you look at them. And everywhere there are monks, dozens of them, perhaps hundreds, moving quietly along the pathways, sitting in meditation beneath ancient trees, tending gardens, reading texts, living their lives as they have lived them for generation after generation, century after century, keeping safe the secret that you have come so far to learn. Tenzin leads you down into the valley, along a path paved with stones that have been worn smooth by 1,000 years of footsteps, and, as you walk, you feel the last of your tension dissolving, the last of your resistance melting away. This place is safe. This place is good. This place has been waiting for you, preparing for you, and now that you are finally here, you understand that you have come home to somewhere you have never been, return to a place you are visiting for the first time. Tonight, Tenzin says, you will rest. Tomorrow the teaching will begin. But for now, let the valley hold you. Let the peace of this place enter your body, your mind, your heart. You have traveled far, further than you know, and you deserve to rest. The secret has waited 1,000 years. It can wait one night more. He leads you to a small building at the edge of the monastery complex, a single room carved into the mountainside, its entrance framed by flowering vines that release a fragrance like honey and moonlight mixed together. Inside, there is a bed covered with blankets woven in patterns that seem to tell stories, a window that looks out over the impossible valley, a small table holding a cup of something warm that steams gently in the golden light. Sleep, Tenzin says, and know that you are exactly where you are meant to be, exactly when you are meant to be here. Tomorrow everything will begin to make sense. Tomorrow you will understand why you have come. But tonight, simply rest. Simply breathe. Simply let yourself be held by this place that has been holding space for you since before you were born. He bows slightly and withdraws, the door closing softly behind him, and you are alone in this room that feels more welcoming than any room you have ever entered. This sanctuary that seems to have been designed specifically for you, this place where rest is not something you must achieve, but something that simply happens naturally, inevitably, like water flowing downhill, like stars appearing at dusk, like breath moving in and out of a body that has finally found its way home. You move to the bed, and the blankets welcome you like old friends, wrapping around you with a warmth that speaks of care, of protection, of love that asks nothing in return. The cup on the table calls to you, and you drink its contents, something warm and sweet and herbal, something that spreads through your body like sunlight spreading across a landscape at dawn, illuminating everything, warming everything, bringing peace to everything it touches. And as you lie there, as your eyes grow heavy and your breath grows slow, you feel the secret already beginning to stir somewhere in the depths of your being, waking from a sleep of its own, preparing to reveal itself when the time is right, when you are ready, when the teaching begins. But for now, you do not need to think about secrets or teachings or revelations. For now, you only need to rest, to let go, to sink into the comfort of this bed, this room, this valley that has kept its promise for 1,000 years and is now, finally, keeping its promise to you. The golden light outside the window begins to soften, to dim, as though the valley itself is preparing for sleep, as though night is coming even to this place where ordinary time does not seem to apply. And you let your eyes close, and you let your thoughts grow quiet, and you let yourself fall gently into the arms of sleep, knowing that you are safe, knowing that you are held, knowing that tomorrow, when you wake, you will be one step closer to understanding everything. The last thing you hear before sleep takes you is the sound of monks chanting somewhere in the distance, their voices rising and falling in ancient harmonies, singing songs that have been sung in this valley for 1,000 years, songs that speak of secrets and truths and the great mystery that waits at the heart of all things. And you sleep deeply and peacefully, held by the valley, cradled by the mountain, watched over by monks who have been waiting for you across centuries of silence, keeping safe the secret that will change everything, the secret that is almost ready to be revealed. You wake to a sound you have never heard before, a deep, resonant tone that seems to come from everywhere at once, from the walls and the floor and the air itself, vibrating through your body like a wave passing through still water. It is not a bell, not a gong, not any instrument you can name, but something older, something that carries within it frequencies that speak directly to the deepest parts of your being, bypassing your ears entirely and arriving somewhere more fundamental, somewhere more true. The golden light is back, streaming through the window, and for a moment you lie still, letting the warmth of it wash over you, letting the memory of where you are settle into your consciousness. The hidden valley, the monastery carved from living stone, Tenzin, the monk who guided you through the impossible passage, and somewhere in this place, waiting to be discovered, the secret that has been kept safe for 1,000 years. You rise slowly, your body feeling different than it felt yesterday, lighter somehow, more fluid, as though sleep in this place has reorganized you at some cellular level, has cleared away blockages you did not know you had, has prepared you for something your waking mind cannot yet comprehend. The clothes you wore yesterday have been replaced by robes similar to the ones Tenzin wore, that deep burgundy color that seems to absorb and release light in equal measure, and they fit you perfectly as though they were woven specifically for your body, specifically for this day. Outside the door of your small room, Tenzin is waiting, and when he sees you emerge, something like approval passes across his face, subtle but unmistakable. You slept well, he says, and it is not a question. The valley accepts you. This is good. Not everyone who enters here is accepted so quickly. Some struggle for days before the peace of this place finds its way into their hearts. But you were ready. You have been ready, perhaps, for longer than you know. He begins to walk, and you fall into step beside him. And this morning the valley reveals itself to you in ways it did not last night. You see now that the gardens are not random arrangements of beauty, but carefully designed spaces, each plant chosen and placed according to principles you do not understand but can somehow feel, harmonies of color and form that speak to something deep within you, that create sensations of peace and openness and quiet joy. You see the monks more clearly now as well, dozens of them going about their morning routines with a quality of attention that transforms even the simplest tasks into something sacred. One monk sweeps a pathway with a broom made of bundled twigs, and his movements are so precise, so mindful, so completely present, that watching him is like watching a master artist at work. Another monk tends a small fire beneath a copper vessel, and the way he feeds the flames, the way he adjusts the vessel, the way he simply exists in relationship with the fire speaks of decades of practice, of a devotion to the present moment that most people never achieve. Today, Tenzin says as you walk, I will show you the monastery itself. I will tell you its history, and I will begin to prepare you for what you will learn. But first, you must eat. The body is not separate from the mind, and what we will be doing requires strength of both. He leads you to a building near the center of the complex, a long, low structure with windows that look out over the valley in every direction. Inside, monks sit at low tables, eating in silence, their bowls filled with simple food that smells of earth and spice and mountain herbs. Tenzin guides you to an empty place and gestures for you to sit, and a moment later a young monk appears with a bowl for you, setting it down with a bow so deep and respectful that you feel something stir in your heart, some recognition of the sacredness of this simple act, this offering of nourishment from one being to another. The food is unlike anything you have tasted, grains and vegetables prepared in ways that seem to unlock flavors you did not know existed, combinations that create sensations of warmth and comfort and deep satisfaction. You eat slowly, following the example of the monks around you, giving each bite your full attention. And as you eat, you feel your body growing stronger, more grounded, more ready for whatever is to come. When the meal is finished, Tenzin leads you outside again, and now the tour begins in earnest. This monastery, he says, as you walk along a pathway lined with stones carved with symbols, was founded 1,047 years ago by a monk named Dorje Rinchen. He was a wanderer, a seeker, a man who had spent 30 years traveling across Tibet and Nepal and India, searching for the deepest truths of existence. He had studied with the greatest masters of his time. He had practiced in caves and forests and on the highest peaks. He had achieved states of consciousness that most people cannot even imagine. But still, he felt that something was missing. Still, he sensed that there was a truth beyond all the truths he had learned, a secret that none of his teachers had been able to reveal. The pathway climbs gently, winding between buildings that seem to grow organically from the mountainside, their walls curved and flowing, their roofs covered with tiles that catch the golden light and reflect it in patterns that shift and change as you move. One night, Tenzin continues, Dorje Rinchen had a dream. In this dream, he saw a valley hidden among the highest peaks, a place that existed outside of ordinary space and time. He saw monks living there, practicing there, keeping safe a secret that had been entrusted to them by beings he could not name, beings that existed in realms beyond human understanding. And he saw himself entering that valley, finding that secret, and beginning a lineage that would protect it for generations to come. You pass a group of monks engaged in debate, their hands moving in precise gestures as they argue philosophical points in voices that rise and fall like music. Tenzin nods to them as you pass, and they pause their discussion to bow in return, their faces serene despite the intensity of their intellectual engagement. When Dorje Rinchen woke from this dream, he knew what he had to do. He set out immediately, following directions that had been imprinted in his mind during the vision, climbing higher than he had ever climbed before, passing through regions where no human being had ever walked. For 7 weeks he traveled, sustained by nothing but his determination and his faith, until finally he found the passage through the mountains, the same passage through which you yourself entered last night. The pathway ends at the base of a cliff face, and carved into this cliff is a doorway, larger and more ornate than any you have seen so far, its frame decorated with symbols and images that seem to move when you look at them directly, that seem to tell stories when you let your gaze soften and simply receive them without trying to understand. This, Tenzin says, is the entrance to the inner monastery. Beyond this door are chambers that have been used for teaching and practice since Dorje Rinchen first carved them from the stone. And at the very heart of the inner monastery, in a room that very few have ever entered, is the chamber of the sleeping truth, where the secret itself resides. He pauses, and his eyes meet yours with an intensity that makes your breath catch. You will enter that chamber before you leave this valley. You will experience the secret directly, as all who are chosen experience it. But first, you must be prepared. The secret is not dangerous, but it is powerful. And those who encounter it without preparation often cannot integrate what they learn. They return to the world below, changed in ways they do not understand, unable to function, unable to live as they lived before. We do not wish this fate for you. We wish for you to receive the secret and return to your life with the ability to use what you have learned, to let it transform you, gradually, peacefully, in ways that enhance your existence rather than disrupting it. He places his hand on the door, and it swings open silently, revealing a corridor lit by that same sourceless golden light, its walls smooth and warm, its floor worn by centuries of devoted footsteps. "Come," he says, "let me show you where the teaching takes place." You follow him into the corridor, and immediately you sense a change in the atmosphere, a deepening of the silence, an intensification of the peace that pervades this entire valley. The air here is different, heavier somehow, more charged with something you cannot name but can definitely feel, an energy that presses against your skin and enters your body with each breath. The corridor branches and turns, leading you deeper into the mountain, and Tenzin narrates as you walk, telling you about the monks who carved these passages, about the practices they developed over generations, about the lineage of teachers who have passed the secret from one keeper to the next across 1,000 years of unbroken transmission. There have been 43 primary keepers since Dorje Rinchen, Tenzin explains. Each one was chosen not by vote or by appointment, but by the secret itself. The sleeping truth has a way of indicating who is ready to serve as its guardian. It speaks through dreams, through signs, through moments of recognition that cannot be mistaken or denied. When a keeper is near the end of their service, the secret begins to stir, begins to search, begins to prepare the next vessel for its residence. You pass chambers where monks sit in meditation, their bodies so still they could be statues, their faces so peaceful they could be asleep. You pass libraries filled with texts written on materials you do not recognize, scrolls and books and tablets covered with symbols that seem to glow faintly in the golden light. You pass workshops where monks create objects of extraordinary beauty, paintings and sculptures and weavings that seem to capture something beyond mere representation, something that speaks directly to the soul. And finally, Tenzin stops before a door that is smaller and simpler than the others you have passed, a door of plain wood with no ornament, no decoration, nothing to distinguish it from a storage closet or a servant's quarters. Behind this door, Tenzin says, is where you will receive your preparation. It is a simple room, nothing special to look at, but within it, teachings have been given that have transformed countless seekers over the centuries. These teachings are not intellectual, they are not philosophical, they are experiential, direct, impossible to convey in words. You will sit, and you will breathe, and you will allow yourself to be opened layer by layer until you are ready to receive what the chamber of the sleeping truth has to offer. He opens the door, and you see a room so simple it is almost empty. There is a cushion on the floor. There is a small table holding a candle. There is a window that looks out onto a view of the valley, so beautiful it hurts to see it. Nothing else. Just space, just light, just the possibility of something happening within you that has never happened before. Sit, Tenzin says, gesturing toward the cushion. Make yourself comfortable. The preparation takes as long as it takes. For some, it is hours. For others, days. There is no way to predict, no way to hurry. You simply sit and breathe and allow what needs to happen to happen. You lower yourself onto the cushion, and Tenzin lowers himself onto the floor across from you, sitting with a stillness that seems impossible, a presence that fills the room without overwhelming it. I will guide you, he says, but you must understand that I am not the teacher here. The teacher is the secret itself, working through this practice, opening you in ways that conscious effort could never achieve. Your only job is to surrender, to let go, to trust that what is happening is exactly what needs to happen, even when you do not understand it, even when it makes no sense, even when every part of your mind screams at you to resist. He closes his eyes, and after a moment, you close yours as well. Begin by feeling your breath. Tenzin's voice comes, softer now, more rhythmic. Do not try to control it. Do not try to breathe in any particular way. Simply notice it. Notice the air entering your body. Notice the air leaving. Notice the space between the inhale and the exhale, that tiny moment of stillness that exists at the turning point, that gap where nothing happens, where everything is possible. You notice your breath, and at first it seems ordinary, just the same breathing you have done every moment of your life. But as you continue to pay attention, something shifts. The breath becomes more vivid, more present, more real. You feel it not just in your nose and lungs, but in your whole body, a wave of sensation that washes through you with each inhale, that recedes with each exhale, leaving something behind each time, some residue of stillness, some deposit of peace. Good, Tenzin says, though you do not know how he knows what you are experiencing with his eyes closed. Now allow your attention to expand. Still feel the breath, but also begin to feel the body around the breath. Feel the weight of your body on the cushion. Feel the contact between your skin and the cloth of your robes. Feel the air against your face, your hands, any part of you that is exposed. Feel the life humming in every cell, the energy flowing through every nerve, the consciousness that animates this collection of bones and muscles and organs that you call yourself. Your awareness expands as he directs, and now you are feeling things you have never felt before, subtle sensations that have always been present but have never been noticed, currents of energy moving through your body in patterns that seem meaningful, that seem to be communicating something in a language older than words. The secret that we guard here, Tenzin says, and his voice seems to come from very far away now, or very close, or from inside your own head, is not a fact or a teaching or a technique. It is an experience. It is a direct encounter with something that exists at the foundation of all reality, something that most people never contact because they are too distracted, too busy, too caught up in the surface of life to sink down to its depths. The preparation you are receiving now is simply a way of helping you sink, of removing the obstacles that keep you floating on the surface, of allowing you to descend into regions of yourself that you did not know existed. The golden light behind your closed eyelids seems to be growing brighter, or perhaps your eyes are simply adjusting to a different way of seeing. Patterns begin to form, swirling geometries of color and light that seem to have meaning, that seem to be showing you something about the structure of reality itself. Do not try to understand what you are seeing, Tenzin says. Do not try to interpret it or analyze it, or fit it into any framework you already know. Simply see, simply receive, simply allow these visions to wash through you like water through sand, changing you in ways you cannot perceive, preparing you for what is to come. The patterns intensify, and you feel yourself being pulled deeper, sinking through layers of your own consciousness like a stone sinking through still water. Each layer has its own quality, its own texture, its own teaching. You pass through regions of memory, seeing moments from your life flash before you like images in a slideshow, but without any emotional charge, without any sense of attachment or regret. You pass through regions of desire, seeing all the things you have wanted presented to you, and then dissolving, revealing themselves as temporary forms, as waves on the surface of something much deeper. You pass through regions of fear, seeing all the things you have dreaded, and these too dissolve, losing their power, becoming just more patterns in the infinite display. And then, quite suddenly, you pass through something, some final membrane, some last barrier between you and something else, and you find yourself in a space that has no qualities at all. No light, no darkness, no sound, no silence. Just pure awareness, vast and empty, and somehow more real than anything you have ever experienced, more true than any truth you have ever known. This, Tenzin's voice comes, though now it seems to be your own voice or the voice of everything, or no voice at all, is the threshold of the secret. You are very close now, but do not try to go further. Not yet. Simply rest here, in this space that is not a space, this place that is not a place. Let it become familiar. Let it become home. You will return here many times before your preparation is complete, and each time you will go a little deeper, a little further, until finally you are ready to enter the chamber of the sleeping truth and receive what awaits you there. You rest in the vast empty space, and time loses all meaning. You could have been there for a moment or an eternity. There is no way to tell, no reference point by which to measure. There is only this, only now, only the pure experience of being aware without being aware of anything in particular. And then, gently, softly, you feel yourself beginning to rise, floating back up through the layers you descended through, passing again through the regions of fear and desire and memory. But now they seem different, less solid, less real, more like dreams within a dream, stories within a story. You feel your body again, sitting on the cushion in the simple room. You feel your breath moving in and out. You feel the weight of your robes, the temperature of the air, the sound of distant chanting somewhere in the monastery. Open your eyes, Tenzin says, and you do. And the world is the same as it was, but also different. Brighter somehow, more vivid, more present, as though a film has been removed from your perception and you are seeing clearly for the first time. That is enough for today, Tenzin says, and his smile is warm and proud. You did well, better than most. The depths you reached on your first sitting would take many seekers weeks to achieve. The secret is calling you. It wants to be discovered. It has been waiting for you, and now that you are here, it is eager to reveal itself. He rises and offers you his hand, and you take it and stand, and your body feels different, more alive, more connected to something larger than itself. Tonight, he says, you will rest again. Tomorrow, we will continue, and soon, perhaps very soon, you will be ready. The chamber of the sleeping truth will open its doors, and you will finally understand why this monastery exists, why the secret has been guarded for 1,000 years, and why, of all the people in the world, you were chosen to receive it. He leads you back through the corridors of the inner monastery, back out into the golden light of the valley, back to your small room at the edge of the complex. The sun is setting now, painting the peaks that surround the valley in shades of rose and amber, and the beauty of it fills you with an emotion that has no name, a combination of gratitude and wonder and peace that brings tears to your eyes without any sadness at all. Rest, Tenzin says at the door of your room. Let what has begun to continue in your sleep. The preparation works through you even when you are not aware of it, even when your conscious mind is far away. Trust the process. Trust the valley. Trust the secret that has already begun to stir within you, preparing to wake from its 1,000-year sleep. He bows and walks away, his burgundy robes moving softly in the evening breeze, and you enter your room and close the door behind you. The bed welcomes you as it did the night before, and the blankets wrap around you with their warmth and comfort, and you lie there watching the light fade outside your window, watching the stars begin to appear one by one in the darkening sky, watching the valley settle into night with a peacefulness that seems to enter your own body, calming every nerve, slowing every thought, preparing you for the deep and restorative sleep that awaits. And as you drift toward that sleep, you feel something inside you that was not there before, something that the day's practice awakened or uncovered, something that feels like a door that has been locked for your entire life and is now, finally, beginning to crack open. You do not know what lies beyond that door. You do not know what the secret will reveal when you finally enter the chamber of the sleeping truth. But you know that you are ready, or that you will be ready, or that readiness itself is part of the preparation, part of the journey, part of the great unfolding that has been waiting for you since before you were born. The last light fades from the sky, and the valley grows dark and still, and you close your eyes and let go, surrendering to the arms of sleep, trusting that whatever dreams come will be exactly the dreams you need, carrying you closer and closer to the truth that has been sleeping for 1,000 years and is now, finally, beginning to wake. 3 days pass in the valley, and each day brings you deeper into the preparation, deeper into yourself, deeper into the mystery that waits at the heart of this ancient place. You have sat with Tenzin in the simple room more times than you can count, descending through the layers of your consciousness, exploring regions of your being that you never knew existed, coming closer and closer to something that you cannot name, but can definitely feel, a presence waiting just beyond the edge of your perception, patient and vast and older than time itself. On the morning of the 4th day, you wake to find that something has changed. The quality of the light is different, softer somehow, more golden, more alive. The air carries a scent you have not noticed before, something like flowers and incense and lightning all mixed together, something that makes your heart beat faster, even though you do not understand why. And when you step outside your room, Tenzin is waiting with an expression on his face that tells you today will be different from all the days that came before. You are ready, he says, and the words land in your chest like stones dropping into still water, creating ripples that spread outward through your entire being. The secret has called you. Tonight, when the moon rises above the eastern peak, you will enter the chamber of the sleeping truth. You feel something move through you, something that might be fear or excitement or both at once, a trembling in your very cells that speaks of thresholds about to be crossed, of lives about to be transformed, of everything you thought you knew about yourself and the world preparing to be rewritten. But first, Tenzin continues, there is something you must see, something that will help you understand what you are about to experience, what the secret actually is, why it has been guarded here for so many centuries. Come, walk with me. Let me show you the history that lives in these stones. He leads you along a pathway you have not walked before, one that climbs steeply up the side of the valley toward a cluster of buildings perched on a ledge high above the main monastery. The climb is challenging, but your body has grown strong during your time here, adapted to the thin air, nourished by the simple food and the deep rest and the practices that have been working on you day and night. You follow Tenzin without difficulty, your breath steady, your legs sure, your mind quiet and receptive. The buildings on the ledge are older than any you have seen in the valley, their stones weathered and worn, their windows dark, their roofs patched with materials that speak of centuries of repair and renewal. Tenzin stops before the largest of these buildings and turns to face you. This was the first structure that Dorje Rinchen built when he arrived in the valley, he says. He lived here alone for 7 years before the first of his students found their way to him. 7 years of solitude, of practice, of communion with the secret that had called him across the mountains. In those 7 years, he wrote the texts that still guide our order. He developed the practices that still prepare seekers for the chamber. He established the protocols that ensure the secret is protected and transmitted without corruption from generation to generation. He pushes open the door and you follow him inside, and what you see there makes you stop in wonder. The walls of the building are covered with paintings, but not paintings like any you have ever seen. They seem to move as you look at them, to shift and change, to tell stories that unfold in real time rather than frozen in a single moment. You see Dorje Rinchen arriving in the valley, a small figure climbing through the impossible passage, his face filled with wonder as he beholds the hidden sanctuary for the first time. You see him building this very structure, stone by stone, his hands bleeding from the work, his determination never wavering. You see him sitting in meditation, and around his seated form, lights begin to gather, spiraling patterns of color that seem to be responding to something he is doing, something he is becoming, something that is happening within him that the painting somehow captures and conveys. These paintings were not made by human hands, Tenzin says, and his voice is hushed, reverent. They appeared on the walls during Dorje Rinchen's years of solitary practice, created by the secret itself as a record of what was happening, a testament to the transformation that was taking place. Each image shows a stage of his preparation, a milestone on the path that you yourself are walking now. You move along the walls, following the sequence of images, and you see Dorje Rinchen changing, evolving, becoming something more than he was when he arrived. In the early images, he is recognizably human, a man like any other, with a body and a face and hands that bleed when they work. But as the sequence progresses, something else begins to emerge. His form becomes less solid, more luminous, as though light is gathering within him, as though he is becoming transparent to something that shines from beyond. And then you come to an image that stops you completely, that makes your breath catch in your throat and your heart pound in your chest. The image shows Dorje Rinchen standing before a door that glows with a light so bright it seems to burn through the very paint that depicts it. His hands are raised, his face is transformed by an expression of such profound peace and joy that looking at it brings tears to your eyes. And around him, surrounding him, embracing him, is something that cannot be a painting at all, something that seems to extend beyond the wall and into the room where you stand, something that makes you feel as though you are being seen, being known, being welcomed by a presence so vast and so loving that your mind cannot comprehend it. This is the moment when he first entered the chamber, Tenzin says, the moment when he received the secret directly, when it was transmitted to him not as knowledge but as experience, not as information but as transformation. What you see around him in this image is not a representation, it is the secret itself, captured somehow in these miraculous pigments, still present after 1,000 years, still alive, still waiting for those who are ready to perceive it. You stand before the image for a long time, letting it work on you, letting it prepare you in ways that the meditation practice alone could not. You feel the presence that surrounds the painted figure of Dorje Rinchen extending toward you, touching you, beginning to enter you in ways that are subtle but undeniable. Something is happening inside you as you stand there, something that has no name, something that the secret itself seems to be initiating, as though it cannot wait for the formal ceremony in the chamber, but must begin reaching toward you now, must begin waking within you now, must begin the transmission that will be completed when the moon rises tonight. "Come," Tenzin finally says, his voice gentle but firm. "There is more to see, and the day is not long enough for lingering." He leads you away from the miraculous paintings and through a door at the back of the building, and you emerge onto a narrow pathway that continues to climb, winding along the face of the cliff towards something you cannot yet see. The pathway is barely wide enough for one person, and the drop on your left is sheer and terrifying, but you do not feel afraid. The presence that touched you in front of the painting is still with you, surrounding you, protecting you, and you walk with a confidence that has nothing to do with your own abilities and everything to do with the secret that is already beginning to work within you. After what seems like hours of climbing, the pathway widens onto a small plateau, and there, carved into the mountain itself, you see something that makes everything you have experienced so far seem like mere preparation, like appetizers before a feast of unimaginable proportions. It is a face carved from the living rock, 100 feet high, ancient beyond measure, depicting a being that is not quite human, but not quite anything else either. The features are serene, peaceful, radiating a quality of compassion so profound that merely looking at it makes you want to weep with gratitude, with relief, with the recognition of something you have been seeking your entire life without knowing what it was. The eyes of the face are closed, and yet you have the unmistakable sense that it sees you, that it has been waiting for you, that it knows everything about you and loves you anyway, loves you completely, loves you without condition or limit. "This is the face of the secret," Tenzin says, and his voice is barely a whisper. Not the secret itself, but its face, the aspect of it that can be perceived by human eyes, the form it takes when it wants to be seen. Dorje Rinchen carved this during his years of solitude, guided by visions that came to him in his deepest meditations. He said that his hands moved without his control, that the secret itself was using him as an instrument, creating its own portrait in the stone of the mountain that had sheltered it for ages beyond counting. You stand before the enormous face, and you feel yourself being seen in a way you have never been seen before, perceived in your totality, accepted in your imperfection, welcomed in your seeking. The presence that has been building inside you since you arrived in the valley intensifies, growing stronger, more undeniable, more alive. You understand now why the preparation was necessary, why you could not simply walk into the chamber of the sleeping truth on your first day and receive the secret directly. Without this gradual opening, without this progressive softening of the barriers that separate you from deeper reality, the full force of what awaits you would be too much, would overwhelm you, would shatter you rather than transforming you. But you are ready now. The opening has happened. The barriers have softened. And tonight, when the moon rises, you will enter the chamber and complete what has been begun. Tenzin allows you to stand before the face for as long as you need, and time loses its meaning again, stretching and compressing in ways that have become familiar during your stay in this impossible valley. Eventually, gently, he touches your arm and guides you away, back along the narrow pathway, back through the building with its miraculous paintings, back down the steep climb to the main monastery. The rest of the day passes in preparation. You are taken to a bathhouse where hot water pours from the mountain itself, heated by volcanic forces deep within the earth. Monks attend you silently, washing your body with herbs that tingle on your skin, drying you with cloths that have been warmed in the sun, dressing you in robes that are different from the ones you have been wearing, these ones pure white, luminous, seeming to glow with their own inner light. You are given food, but only a little, just enough to sustain you, not enough to weigh you down. You are given water infused with flowers you do not recognize. their petals floating on the surface like tiny boats, their fragrance filling your nose and throat and lungs with something that makes you feel lighter, clearer, more present than you have ever been. And then, as the afternoon shadows begin to lengthen and the golden light of the valley deepens toward amber, you are led to the entrance of the inner monastery, the same door through which Tenzin first guided you days ago, but now flanked by monks holding candles, now surrounded by an atmosphere of ceremony and significance that makes your heart pound and your breath quicken. Tenzin is there, waiting for you, and when he sees you in your white robes, something shifts in his expression, something that might be pride, or might be love, or might be something else entirely, something for which there is no word in any human language. "It is time," he says. "The moon is rising. The chamber has been prepared. Are you ready to receive what has been kept safe for you across 1,000 years?" And you realize, standing there in your luminous robes surrounded by monks whose faces glow with candlelight and ancient devotion, that you have been ready for this moment your entire life. Every experience you have ever had has been leading here. Every question you have ever asked has been preparing you for this answer. Every longing you have ever felt has been pointing toward what awaits you on the other side of this threshold. "Yes," you say, and your voice sounds different, deeper, more resonant, as though the preparation has changed not just your consciousness, but your very body, your very cells. "I am ready." Tenzin nods and turns toward the door, and the monks with their candles fall into formation around you, and together you enter the inner monastery, walking now toward the heart of everything, toward the center of the mystery, toward the chamber of the sleeping truth. The corridors of the inner monastery are different tonight, transformed by the candlelight and the presence of the monks and the weight of what is about to happen. The walls seem to pulse with energy, with life, with anticipation. The air is thick with incense and something else, something that has no scent but can definitely be felt, an intensity that builds with every step you take, a pressure that is not physical but somehow presses against you nonetheless, preparing you, testing you, making sure you are truly ready for what is to come. You pass through chambers you have not seen before, vast spaces filled with statues and paintings and objects whose purpose you cannot guess. You pass through corridors so narrow that the monks with their candles must walk single file, their flames casting dancing shadows on walls that seem to breathe. You pass through doorways carved with symbols that make your eyes water when you look at them directly, symbols that seem to be alive, to be communicating something in a language older than speech, older than thought, older than humanity itself. And finally, after what seems like hours or days or lifetimes of walking, you arrive at the chamber of the sleeping truth. The entrance is not impressive. It is a simple archway, smaller than many you have passed through, its stones unmarked, its presence unassuming. But as you approach, you feel the energy emanating from within, a force so powerful that it takes your breath away, so profound that it brings you to your knees without any conscious decision on your part. Tenzin kneels beside you, his hand on your shoulder, his voice soft in your ear. "This is normal," he says. "The secret is strong. It has been concentrating here for 1,000 years, gathering power, waiting for this moment. Let it wash over you. Let it knock you down if it must. When you are ready, you will stand. When you are ready, you will walk through that archway. And when you emerge, you will be forever changed." You kneel there, letting the force pour over you, letting it break down the last of your defenses, the last of your resistance, the last of your separation from what awaits you within. It is not painful, this breaking down. It is not even difficult. It is like a wall of ice melting in the sun, like a knot untying itself, like a door that has been locked for years, finally swinging open. And then, without knowing how, you are standing. Without knowing how, you are walking forward. Without knowing how, you are passing through the archway and entering the chamber of the sleeping truth. The chamber is circular, its walls curving around you in a perfect embrace, its ceiling domed above you like the inside of a great skull. There are no candles here, no torches, no visible source of light, and yet the chamber is not dark. It is filled with a glow that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere, a luminosity that has no source but illuminates everything, that makes even the shadows seem bright, that reveals every detail of the space with perfect clarity. And in the center of the chamber, resting on a pedestal of pure white stone, is the source of the secret itself. It is not what you expected. It is not a treasure or a text or a sacred object. It is something far simpler and far more profound. It is a sphere about the size of your head, perfectly round, perfectly smooth, made of a substance you cannot identify. It is not metal, not stone, not glass, not crystal, but something else entirely, something that seems to be made of light itself, of consciousness itself, of the very fabric of reality given form and shape. The sphere glows with a soft radiance, and as you approach it, as you draw closer to the center of the chamber, you feel the radiance entering you, filling you, becoming you. It is not light as you understand light. It is awareness. It is presence. It is the pure experience of being conscious, distilled and concentrated and preserved here for 1,000 years, waiting for this moment, waiting for you. Tenzin's voice reaches you from the doorway, soft and distant. Place your hands upon the sphere. Let it complete what has been begun. Let the secret wake within you. You reach out, and your hands touch the surface of the sphere, and everything changes. There is no longer a chamber. There is no longer a monastery. There is no longer a valley or a mountain or a world. There is only this, only the sphere, only the light that is pouring into you through your hands, through your arms, through your chest, through every cell and atom of your being. The light is not empty. The light is full. The light contains everything, every moment that has ever existed, every experience that has ever been experienced, every consciousness that has ever been conscious. You are touching eternity, holding infinity in your hands, receiving a transmission that has been waiting to be given since before time began. And in that transmission, you finally understand the secret that has been kept safe in this valley for 1,000 years. The secret is this: you are not separate. You have never been separate. The boundaries that you thought divided you from the world, from other beings, from the universe itself, were always just illusions, just dreams, just stories told by a mind that did not know any better. The truth is that you are woven into the fabric of everything. The truth is that your consciousness is not contained in your body, but extends outward without limit, touching everything, connected to everything, one with everything that exists. This is not a belief. This is not a philosophy. This is a direct experience, more real than anything you have ever experienced before, more true than any truth you have ever known. You are everything. Everything is you. There is no separation, has never been separation, could never be separation, because separation itself is the only illusion, the only dream, the only lie that consciousness tells itself when it forgets what it truly is. The sphere pulses in your hands, and with each pulse, the understanding deepens, broadens, becomes more complete. You see your life from this new perspective, and everything makes sense. Everything has meaning. Everything has been leading to this moment of recognition, this moment of remembering, this moment of finally waking from the dream of being alone in a cold and uncaring universe. You are not alone. You have never been alone. You are held in an embrace so vast and so loving that your mind cannot comprehend it, supported by a presence so ancient and so wise that your heart can only bow before it, welcomed into a family of consciousness that includes every being that has ever existed, that will ever exist, that exists right now in this eternal moment that contains all moments. The tears are streaming down your face, but they are not tears of sadness. They are tears of relief, of recognition, of the overwhelming joy that comes when something that has been lost for a very long time is finally found. Tenzin's voice reaches you again, and it is the voice of a friend, of a brother, of a fellow traveler who has walked this path before you and is waiting to welcome you to the other side. Let go of the sphere now, he says. Let go and know that what you have received can never be lost. It is part of you now, as it has always been part of you, waiting only for this moment of recognition, this moment of awakening, this moment of coming home. Your hands release the sphere and you step back, and the chamber returns around you, its walls and ceiling and floor becoming solid again, becoming real again, but different now, more alive, more present, more infused with the light that you have just touched, that has just touched you. You turn and walk toward the archway, toward Tenzin waiting there with his warm smile and his knowing eyes, toward the world that you will now experience in a completely different way. As you pass through the archway, Tenzin places his hand on your heart, and you feel the connection between you. Feel how his consciousness and yours are not separate, but one. Feel how the secret that has been transmitted to you connects you to him, to all the monks who have ever lived in this valley, to Dorje Rinchen himself, to every seeker who has ever touched the sphere and received what you have just received. Welcome, Tenzin says, and his voice carries the weight of 1,000 years of tradition, 1,000 years of devotion, 1,000 years of keeping this precious gift safe until you are ready to receive it. Welcome to the family, welcome to the truth, welcome home. The monks with their candles surround you, and their faces are radiant with joy, and you realize that they have been waiting for this, that your awakening is not just your own, but belongs to all of them, belongs to the entire lineage, belongs to consciousness itself as it recognizes itself in yet another form, yet another manifestation, yet another drop of the infinite ocean becoming aware of the ocean from which it arose. Together, in silence, you walk back through the corridors of the inner monastery, back through the chambers and passages that seem different now, more alive, more meaningful, as though you are seeing them for the first time, which in a sense you are. The candlelight dances on the walls, and the shadows play, and everything is sacred, everything is precious, everything is part of the great tapestry of existence that you now know yourself to be woven into, inseparable, eternal home. When you emerge from the inner monastery, the moon is high in the sky, full and bright, casting silver light across the valley, painting the buildings and gardens and pathways with a luminosity that seems to echo the light of the sphere, the light of the secret, the light that now lives inside you and will never, ever be extinguished. Tenzin guides you back to your small room at the edge of the complex, and the bed is waiting for you, and the blankets are soft and warm, and everything is exactly as it was before, and yet completely different, transformed by what you now know, by what you have always known, but have finally remembered. Sleep, Tenzin says at the door, and his voice is gentle, filled with the love that flows between all beings who know themselves to be one, who recognize each other as expressions of the same infinite consciousness. Let what has happened integrate. Let it settle into every part of you. When you wake, you will begin to understand how to live from this truth, how to walk in the world as one who knows, how to carry the secret in a way that benefits all beings everywhere. He bows, and you bow in return, and the bow is not just a gesture, but a recognition, an acknowledgement of the divine in each other, the light in each other, the secret that you now share across 1,000 years of keeping and 10,000 years to come. The door closes, and you are alone, but you are not alone because you know now that aloneness is impossible, that you are held and surrounded and supported by a web of consciousness that extends to the farthest stars and down to the tiniest particles of matter, that includes everything that has ever been and everything that will ever be. You lie down on the bed, and the blankets wrap around you, and you feel yourself sinking into rest, into peace, into a sleep that will be unlike any sleep you have ever known. A sleep in which the secret will continue to work within you, integrating, deepening, becoming more and more a part of who you are. The moon shines through your window, and its light falls across your face like a blessing, like a kiss, like a promise that everything will be well, that everything is already well, that everything has always been well, that the apparent suffering and confusion of life is just a thin veil over an ocean of love so vast and so deep that nothing could ever diminish it, nothing could ever threaten it, nothing could ever change the fundamental truth of what you are. Your eyes close and your breath slows, and you feel yourself descending into sleep, but it is a conscious descent now, an aware descent, a descent in which you remain present even as you let go, in which you witness your own dissolving into the vast peace of the universe, in which you rest in the truth that has been revealed to you, the secret that has been kept for 1,000 years, the gift that is now yours to carry and to share. The night holds you, and the mountain cradles you, and the monks send their prayers toward you through the moonlit air, and you sleep deeply and completely, held in the arms of the secret that has finally been revealed, the truth that has finally been remembered, the home that you have finally found. And somewhere in the depths of your sleep, in a place where dreams and visions and realities blur together into something more true than any of them alone, you hear a voice. And the voice is yours and not yours. The voice of the secret itself, speaking through you, as you to you. You are loved, the voice says. You have always been loved. You will always be loved. This is the secret. This is the truth. This is what we have been keeping safe for 1,000 years, waiting for you to be ready, waiting for this moment, waiting to finally tell you what you have always needed to hear. You are loved. You are held. You are home. And the voice fades, and the sleep deepens, and the peace expands, and you rest in the truth, in the secret, in the love that has no beginning and no end, that asks nothing in return, that simply is, eternally, infinitely, forever. The days that follow move like water flowing through a garden, soft and unhurried, finding their own pace, their own rhythm, their own way. You have received the secret, and now the secret is settling into you, making itself at home in the chambers of your heart, the corridors of your mind, the very cells of your body. Nothing needs to be rushed. Nothing needs to be forced. The transformation that began in the chamber of the sleeping truth continues on its own, like a seed that has been planted and now grows toward the light without any effort from you at all. You wake each morning to the same golden light filtering through your window, the same view of the impossible valley spread out before you, the same sense of peace that has become so familiar. It feels like it has always been part of you, like you were born with it and simply forgot, like it was waiting inside you all along and has now finally been allowed to emerge. The monastery has a rhythm, and you have become part of that rhythm now, moving through your days in harmony with the monks who have become your family, your teachers, your brothers and sisters, in the great truth that binds all consciousness together. You eat when they eat, in the long, low building with its windows that look out in every direction, sharing simple food in comfortable silence, feeling the nourishment enter your body and become part of you, feeling your gratitude extend outward to touch everyone who helped bring this food into being, the farmers and the gardeners and the cooks and the earth itself. You walk when you feel like walking, along the pathways you have come to know so well, through the gardens where the flowers bloom in colors that still take your breath away, past the pond where the golden fish swim in their slow circles, beneath the trees that have stood here for centuries, watching generations of seekers come and go, offering their shade and their silence to anyone who needs it. And sometimes, when the mood takes you, you sit in the simple room where your preparation took place, the room with the single cushion and the small table and the window that looks out over the valley. You sit and you breathe and you let yourself sink into the depths that are now so familiar, the layers of consciousness that you have explored so thoroughly, the vast empty space at the foundation of your being, where the secret lives, where it has always lived, where it will continue to live long after this body returns to the earth from which it came. But you do not need to sit and meditate to feel the secret. That is what you have discovered in these days since the chamber. The secret is not something you have to work to maintain, not something that fades when you stop practicing, not something that depends on special conditions or circumstances. It is simply what you are, what you have always been, what everything is. It is the water in which you swim, the air that you breathe, the ground beneath your feet and the sky above your head, and the light that falls on everything without discrimination, without judgment, without preference. This understanding brings a peace that you could not have imagined before you came to this valley, a peace that does not depend on anything going a particular way, a peace that remains even when difficulties arise, even when challenges appear, even when the circumstances of life are not what you would have chosen. Because you know now that the circumstances of life are just the surface, just the waves on the ocean, just the play of light and shadow on the face of something infinitely deeper, infinitely more stable, infinitely more real. Tenzin visits you often in these days, and your conversations have a different quality now, a quality of equals meeting rather than teacher and student, a quality of shared understanding that needs few words to communicate its depths. Sometimes you walk together through the gardens, pointing out flowers that are just beginning to bloom, noticing the way the light changes as it passes through different kinds of leaves. Sometimes you sit together in silence, sharing the peace that needs no explanation, the presence that speaks for itself. One afternoon, Tenzin takes you to a part of the monastery you have not visited before, a series of small rooms carved into a quiet corner of the mountain, each one containing a single monk engaged in a particular practice. In one room, a monk sits before a blank wall, his eyes open, his gaze soft, practicing what Tenzin calls the contemplation of emptiness. In another room, a monk holds a single flower, examining it with an attention so complete that it seems he could spend the rest of his life simply looking at this one small object. In a third room, a monk lies on his back, his hands folded on his chest, his breath so slow and steady that he appears to be sleeping, though Tenzin tells you he is awake, practicing a technique that will prepare him for the moment of death, when consciousness must release its grip on the body and continue its journey alone. These are the advanced practices, Tenzin explains as you walk between the rooms. They are not necessary for everyone. The secret you received in the chamber is complete in itself. But for those who wish to go deeper, to explore the further reaches of what consciousness can become, these techniques offer doorways into realms that most people never know exist. You stand at the entrance to a room where a monk sits surrounded by candles, his hands moving in slow gestures that seem to be weaving something invisible, something that you can almost see at the edge of your perception, patterns of light and energy that he is creating and releasing, in an endless cycle of manifestation and dissolution. This monk, Tenzin says, has been practicing this technique for 40 years. He can now create experiences directly in the minds of others, share visions and feelings without any words, communicate across vast distances with people he has never met. He does not use this ability often. It requires tremendous energy, and the message must be worthy of the effort. But when it is needed, when there is something that must be conveyed to someone far away, he is the one we turn to. You watch the monk's hands moving, weaving their invisible patterns, and you feel something touching your mind, a presence that is not your own, a warmth that seems to come from somewhere outside you. It is gentle, respectful, asking permission rather than demanding entry, and you open yourself to it, let it in, feel it settle into your consciousness like a friend sitting down beside you. And suddenly you understand what the monk is communicating, not in words, but in direct experience. He is sharing with you what it feels like to be Him, to be a consciousness that has spent 40 years refining itself to this point of development. You feel the vast stillness at His center, the ocean of peace from which His actions arise. You feel the love that motivates everything He does, a love so pure and so unconditional that it brings tears to your eyes. You feel the joy of creation, the delight of weaving these patterns of light and energy, the pleasure of using His abilities in service of something larger than Himself. And then the presence withdraws gently, carefully, leaving you standing at the entrance to His room with a new understanding of what is possible, what consciousness can become when it is trained and refined and devoted entirely to the truth. "Come," Tenzin says, "there is one more thing I want to show you before the day ends." He leads you out of the monastery complex and along a path that climbs toward the eastern wall of the valley, toward a place where the mountains rise up like a fortress, their faces sheer and unclimbable. The path ends at the base of a cliff, and there, carved into the rock, is a staircase so old that the steps have been worn into shallow depressions by countless feet over countless years. You climb together, Tenzin and you, and the climb is long but not difficult, your body moving with the easy strength it has developed during your time in this place. The stairs switch back up the face of the cliff, passing through tunnels carved into the rock, emerging onto ledges that offer views of the valley spreading out below. More beautiful with each step you climb, more vast, more impossible. And finally, after what might have been an hour, or might have been a lifetime, you reach the top, and you see what Tenzin has brought you here to see. It is a platform, circular, perhaps 30 feet across, carved from the living rock at the very top of the cliff. In the center of the platform stands a structure that is not quite a building and not quite a sculpture, something between the two, made of materials you cannot identify, shaped in forms that seem to shift and change as you look at them, as though the structure exists in more than 3 dimensions and you are seeing only the part of it that intersects with ordinary reality. "This is the watchtower," Tenzin says. "From here, on certain nights when the conditions are right, it is possible to see far beyond the valley, beyond the mountains, beyond the world itself. It is possible to see other places where consciousness has gathered and concentrated, other sanctuaries like this one, scattered across the earth and beyond, connected by lines of energy that cannot be perceived by ordinary sight but can be seen from here, when the eyes are prepared, when the heart is open. You approach the strange structure, and as you draw closer, you begin to perceive what Tenzin is describing. Your vision is changing, expanding, opening to frequencies that were always there, but were filtered out by a mind that did not know how to receive them. And you see, spreading out from this platform, lines of light extending in all directions, some reaching toward distant points on the earth, others reaching upward into the sky, toward the stars, toward destinations you cannot imagine. There are others like us, Tenzin says, his voice soft with wonder, even though he has seen this many times before. Other keepers, other guardians, other beings who have dedicated themselves to preserving and transmitting the truth. We are not alone in this work. We are part of a network that spans the globe and extends beyond it, a web of consciousness that holds the secret safe for all beings, that ensures it will never be lost, that it will always be available for those who are ready to receive it. You stand there on the circular platform at the top of the cliff, and you see the lines of light extending in every direction, and you feel your place in this vast network, your role in this great work, your connection to beings you will never meet in person, but with whom you share the deepest possible bond. The sun is setting now, painting the sky in colors that seem to vibrate with the energy of the lines you can now perceive, and you watch as the light changes, as the world transforms from day to evening, as the stars begin to appear one by one, adding their own light to the web that spans the heavens. Tenzin stands beside you, and neither of you speaks, because there are no words for what you are seeing, for what you are feeling, for what you have become. You are part of something vast and ancient and good. You are held in a web of love and light that has been woven across millennia. You are home, and yet you are also connected to homes throughout the universe, to every place where consciousness has awakened to its own nature, to every being who has ever received the secret and carried it forward. The night deepens, and still you stand there, watching, receiving, letting the truth of what you are seeing settle into your being. The cold does not bother you. The time does not matter. There is only this, only now, only the vast and beautiful reality that has been revealed to you, that has always been here, that will always be here, waiting for those with eyes to see. Eventually, Tenzin touches your arm gently, and together you begin the descent, back down the worn stairs, back through the tunnels carved in the cliff, back to the valley floor where the monastery waits with its golden light and its ancient peace. The walk back to your room is quiet, comfortable, filled with the silence of shared understanding. When you reach your door, Tenzin pauses and turns to face you. Tomorrow, he says, we will begin to talk about your return. The world below needs what you have received. There are people who are ready for the secret, people who have been preparing without knowing what they were preparing for. You will find them, or they will find you. The truth has a way of bringing together those who are meant to be together. You nod, feeling the truth of his words, feeling also a small pang of something that might be sadness, the knowledge that your time in this valley is drawing to a close, that the world outside is waiting for you, that the easy peace of these days will soon give way to the challenges and complexities of ordinary life. But even as you feel this, you know that it does not matter. The peace you have found is not dependent on this place. The secret you have received is not something that can be left behind. Wherever you go, whatever you do, whoever you become, the truth will remain, the presence will abide, the love will continue to flow through you and around you and from you, touching everyone you meet, changing the world one moment at a time. Rest now, Tenzin says. Let this night be a celebration of what you have accomplished, what you have received, what you have become. Tomorrow will bring its own tasks, its own challenges, its own opportunities. But tonight, simply rest in the truth, in the peace, in the love that has been revealed to you. He bows, and you bow in return, and then he is gone, walking back along the pathway toward his own quarters, his burgundy robes disappearing into the darkness, leaving you alone at the door of your small room. You enter, and the familiar space welcomes you, the bed with its soft blankets, the window with its view of the moonlit valley, the small table where a cup of something warm is waiting, steam rising gently in the silver light. You drink the tea slowly, feeling its warmth spread through you, feeling the herbs working their subtle magic, preparing you for the deep rest that awaits. The moon is full again tonight, or perhaps it is still full, or perhaps time in this valley does not follow the rules you are used to. It does not matter. The light pours through your window, painting everything in shades of silver and shadow, creating a beauty so gentle that it asks nothing of you, demands nothing, simply offers itself as a gift to anyone who is present enough to receive it. You set down the empty cup and move to the bed, and the blankets open for you like arms waiting to embrace, and you lie down and let them wrap around you, holding you, warming you, protecting you from nothing, because there is nothing that needs protecting against. Your eyes are growing heavy now, your breath is slowing, your body is releasing its tension into the soft support beneath you. The day has been long and full, rich with experiences that will take time to integrate, revelations that will unfold their meanings over days and weeks and years to come. But you do not need to think about any of that now. You do not need to understand anything now. You only need to rest, to let go, to sink into the peace that has become your home, the truth that has become your foundation, the love that has become the very substance of your being. The monastery breathes around you, its ancient stones holding their warmth, its corridors filled with monks who are also preparing for sleep, also releasing into rest, also trusting the night to hold them through the hours of darkness until the golden light returns. You are one of them now. You belong to this place, even if your body will soon return to the world below. Something of you will remain here always, just as something of this place will remain in you always. A connection that cannot be broken, a bond that transcends time and space and circumstance. The moon continues its slow journey across the sky, and you feel yourself moving with it, drifting through the vast spaces of consciousness, touching the edges of sleep, but not quite falling, hovering in that delicious territory between waking and dreaming, where everything is soft, everything is possible, everything is held in perfect balance. And in this soft space, you feel the secret stirring within you again, not revealing anything new, just reminding you of what has already been revealed, just confirming its presence, just letting you know that it is still there, will always be there, the foundation beneath every experience, the light behind every perception, the love within every moment. You are loved. This is what the secret keeps saying, in the language that has no words, in the voice that speaks directly to the heart. You are loved. You have always been loved. You will always be loved. Nothing you could do would ever change this. Nothing you could become would ever diminish this. The love is unconditional, infinite, eternal, and it is yours. It is what you are made of. It is the very substance of your being. And with this knowing, this feeling, this truth settling into your heart, like a stone sinking into still water, you finally let go completely, finally release into sleep, finally allow the night to take you wherever it will, trusting that you will be held, that you are always held, that holding is what the universe does, that you have never fallen and could never fall because there is no bottom, no edge, no place where the love ends and the emptiness begins. The sleep comes deep and peaceful, and in the sleep there are dreams, and in the dreams there is the valley, and in the valley there is the monastery, and in the monastery there is you, walking the familiar paths, sitting in the simple room, standing before the face carved in the mountain, touching the sphere of light that has changed everything, that has revealed everything, that has brought you home. And running through all the dreams like a golden thread through a tapestry is the secret, whispering its truth over and over, never tiring, never stopping, never forgetting what it is here to say. You are loved, you are held, you are home. The night continues, and you sleep, and the moon shines down on the valley, and on you, and on everything that exists, and the love flows through it all, connecting it all, being it all, forever and ever, without end. And now the night grows very still, very soft, very deep. The valley has settled into its own rest, the monastery has quieted into silence, and you are lying in your bed, wrapped in blankets that hold you like gentle hands, breathing slowly, easily, without any effort at all. The moonlight continues to pour through your window, silver and soft, painting the walls of your room in shades of gray and white that seem to glow with their own inner light. You do not need to look at the moon. You can feel it, feel its presence in the sky, feel its light touching everything, blessing everything, watching over everything, with the patience of something that has been rising and setting for billions of years, and will continue for billions more. Your body is very heavy now, very still. Your arms rest at your sides, and they feel like they are made of warm sand, slowly sinking into the bed beneath you, becoming part of it, merging with it. Your legs are the same, heavy and warm and completely relaxed. No tension anywhere, no holding, no resistance. Just softness, just weight, just the gentle pull of gravity drawing you deeper into rest. Your breath moves through you like a tide, rising and falling, each breath slower than the last, each breath deeper than the last. You do not need to control it. You do not need to think about it. The breath knows what to do. It has always known. It breathes you, moves through you, keeps you alive without any effort on your part, the most natural thing in the world. The secret that you received in the chamber is very quiet now, not speaking, not showing you anything, just resting inside you the way you are resting in your bed. It has become part of you, woven into the fabric of your being, and it does not need to announce itself or prove itself or do anything at all. It simply is, the way your heart simply beats, the way your lungs simply breathe, the way the stars simply shine in the vast darkness of space. You are aware of the silence around you, and the silence is not empty. It is full of peace, full of presence, full of the accumulated stillness of 1,000 years, of monks who have rested in this valley, who have breathed this air, who have let go into this same deep peace that is now embracing you. The walls of your room are very far away now, or perhaps they are very close. It does not matter. The boundaries between things are softening, dissolving, becoming less important. You are still in your body, still lying in your bed. But you are also more than that now, larger than that, connected to everything around you in ways that do not require you to move or act or do anything at all. The mountain beneath the monastery holds you, millions of tons of stone that have been here for millions of years, patient and solid and unmoving. You can feel this holding, feel the support of the earth beneath you. Feel the way gravity presses you gently into your bed, not as a force, but as an embrace, as a welcome, as an invitation to let go even more completely, to sink even more deeply, to rest even more fully. Your thoughts are very quiet now. They still arise occasionally, like bubbles rising to the surface of a still pond. But they do not demand your attention. They simply appear, and then they disappear. And then there is just the stillness again, the peace, the vast open space of awareness that requires nothing, that holds everything, that is simply here, simply present, simply waiting. The tea you drank before bed is working through your body, the herbs releasing their medicine, softening your muscles, quieting your nerves, preparing you for the deep rest that is now beginning to take you. You do not need to do anything to help this process. You do not need to relax. The relaxation is happening on its own, naturally, inevitably, the way night follows day, the way sleep follows waking, the way peace follows the letting go of everything that is not peace. Your face is very soft now, your forehead is smooth, no lines of worry, no creases of thought. Your eyes are closed and the lids are heavy, and behind them there is only darkness, soft and warm and welcoming. Your jaw is loose, your lips slightly parted, your tongue resting gently in your mouth. All the muscles of your face have released, have let go, have remembered what it means to simply rest without expression, without effort, without the constant work of presenting yourself to the world. Your shoulders have dropped away from your ears, spreading out across the bed like wings that no longer need to fly. There is no tension in them, no holding, no bracing against anything. They have surrendered to gravity, to rest, to the simple fact of lying down and not needing to carry anything anymore. Your arms are heavy and warm, sinking into the bed, becoming part of the bed. Your hands are open, your fingers loose and soft, curving naturally the way hands curve when they are not gripping anything, when they are not trying to hold on to anything, when they have let go of everything they thought they needed to hold. Your chest rises and falls with each breath, a gentle movement that continues without your attention, without your effort. Your heart beats beneath your ribs, steady and slow, pumping blood through your body in a rhythm as old as life itself. You can feel this rhythm if you pay attention, feel the pulse of life moving through you, but you do not need to pay attention. You can simply rest, simply let the heart do what it does, what it has always done, what it will continue to do through this night and all the nights to come. Your belly is soft and relaxed, rising slightly with each inhale, falling slightly with each exhale. A gentle movement like the movement of the sea, like the movement of waves on a shore where no one walks, where the water simply comes and goes in a rhythm that has no beginning and no end. Your hips have released, your thighs have softened, your knees have let go of whatever tension they were holding. Your calves are heavy against the bed, your ankles are loose, your feet are warm beneath the blankets, each toe distinct and relaxed, pointing slightly outward the way feet point when they are completely at ease. You are sinking now, sinking through layers of rest, each layer deeper than the last, each layer softer, more peaceful, more completely free of effort. The surface of waking is far above you now, like the surface of a lake seen from below, and you are drifting down through the warm water, through the gentle darkness, toward a place where there is nothing but rest, nothing but peace, nothing but the deep stillness that exists at the foundation of everything. The monastery above you sleeps as well, its corridors dark, its rooms quiet, its monks lying in their own beds, breathing their own slow breaths, dreaming their own dreams. Tenzin sleeps somewhere in this ancient place, the monk who guided you through everything, who prepared you for the chamber, who has become your friend and your brother. The other monks sleep, each one a keeper of the secret, each one a guardian of the truth, each one resting in the same peace that now holds you. The valley sleeps, the gardens dark beneath the moon, the flowers closed, the fish in the pond hovering motionless in the cool water. The trees sleep, if trees can be said to sleep, their leaves still, their branches quiet, their roots reaching deep into the earth where another kind of rest prevails, dark and silent and nourishing. The mountains sleep, the great peaks that surround this hidden place, their snow bright in the moonlight, their stone cold and patient, holding their positions as they have held them for ages, beyond counting, watching over the valley with the indifference of things that are beyond worry, beyond concern, beyond anything but simple existence. And you sleep too, or you are very close to sleep, drifting in that soft territory where waking and dreaming blend together, where thoughts become images, and images become feelings, and feelings dissolve into pure awareness, vast and empty and peaceful. The secret is very still within you, not asleep exactly, because the secret never sleeps, but resting, quiescent, holding its truth in the depths of your being like a seed, holding the pattern of a tree, like a candle holding the potential for light, like a heart holding the capacity for love that has not yet been expressed, but is there, always there, waiting. You do not need to think about the secret now. You do not need to remember it, or hold on to it, or do anything with it at all. It is part of you, as much a part of you as your breath or your heartbeat. And it will be there when you wake. It will be there tomorrow and the next day, and all the days after that. It will be there when you return to the world below. It will be there for the rest of your life and beyond, eternal and unchanging and always available. The peace that fills you now is not something you have achieved. It is not something you have earned. It is simply what remains when everything else has been released, when all the effort and the striving and the seeking have finally stopped. It is what you are, what you have always been, what everything is beneath the surface appearances that usually distract you from seeing it. You rest in this peace now, float in it, dissolve into it. There is nothing more you need to do. There is nowhere else you need to go. There is nothing left to figure out or understand or achieve. You have arrived, and the arriving is not an ending, but a beginning, not a destination, but a doorway into a new way of being, a new way of living, a new way of moving through the world that awaits you. But all of that is for later. All of that is for tomorrow, for the days to come, for the life that stretches out before you full of possibilities you cannot yet imagine. For now, there is only this, only rest, only peace, only the deep, soft, warm darkness of sleep that is calling you, welcoming you, opening its arms to receive you. Let yourself go, let yourself fall, let yourself sink into the arms of sleep that have been waiting for you, that have always been waiting, that are as patient and as loving as the mountains that surround this valley, as the moon that shines down upon it, as the secret that has been kept here for 1,000 years and is now, finally, yours. The night holds you. The silence wraps around you. The peace pervades every cell of your body, every corner of your mind, every part of your being that is capable of receiving it. And you rest, deeply, completely, utterly. Your breath slows until it is barely perceptible, a gentle movement that continues without your attention. Your heart slows until its beating is like the distant sound of a drum in a far-off valley, steady and soft and comforting. Your thoughts slow until they're like stars appearing one by one in a vast night sky, each one beautiful, each one brief, each one dissolving into the darkness from which it arose. The moonlight continues to pour through your window, but you are no longer seeing it. You have gone beyond seeing now, beyond hearing, beyond all the senses that connect you to the world of form. You have entered the formless, the vast, the infinite space of consciousness at rest. And in this space, there is nothing but peace, nothing but love, nothing but the truth that has been whispered to you since you arrived in this valley, that has been revealed to you in the chamber of the sleeping truth, that has been confirmed again and again in every moment of your time here. You are not separate. You are not alone. You are held in an embrace that has no boundaries, loved by a love that has no conditions, welcomed into a home that has no walls because it is everywhere, includes everything, excludes nothing. This is what sleep knows. This is what the night teaches. This is the secret beneath all secrets, the truth beneath all truths, the peace that passes understanding, because it is not something that can be understood, only experienced, only felt, only allowed. And you allow it now? You open to it? You let it fill you completely, leaving no room for anything else, no space for worry or fear or doubt. There is only peace, only love, only rest. The night deepens, the moon moves, the stars turn, and you sleep deeper and deeper, softer and softer, further and further from the surface of ordinary consciousness, closer and closer to the source from which all consciousness arises. Rest now. Rest completely. Let the night do its work, healing what needs to be healed, restoring what needs to be restored, preparing you for whatever tomorrow will bring. You are safe, you are loved, you are home, and you sleep. And now the night becomes very soft, very quiet, very still. The monastery has faded into shadow, the valley has dissolved into darkness, and there is only this, only rest, only the gentle presence of peace that has no edges, no boundaries, no place where it ends and something else begins. You are floating now, floating in a vast, warm darkness that holds you the way water holds a leaf, the way air holds a cloud, the way the universe holds everything that exists within it. There is no effort in this floating. There is no need to do anything at all. You are simply here, simply present, simply resting in the infinite embrace that has always been available, that has always been waiting, that is always here. The secret sleeps within you, and you sleep within the secret, and there is no longer any difference between you, no longer any separation, no longer anything but this one vast peace that includes everything and is disturbed by nothing. Your breath has become so slow now, so gentle, that you can barely feel it. It moves through you like a whisper, like a prayer, like the softest breeze moving through a garden where all the flowers have closed for the night. In and out, so slow, so soft, so easy. The monks are sleeping, Tenzin is sleeping, the mountains are sleeping, the stars themselves seem to be sleeping, their light steady and unchanging, watching over a world that has surrendered to rest, a world that has let go of the day and all its concerns and has simply allowed the night to take it, to hold it, to carry it through the hours of darkness toward a morning that will come when it comes, in its own time, in its own way. The sphere of light that you touched in the chamber of the sleeping truth is very far away now, or perhaps it is very close, or perhaps it is inside you, glowing softly in the depths of your being, releasing its radiance slowly, steadily, filling you with warmth and peace and love, while you sleep, while you rest, while you drift through the vast spaces of consciousness that have opened to you. There is nothing you need to remember. There is nothing you need to hold on to. Everything that matters has become part of you, woven into the fabric of your being so completely that it could never be lost, could never be forgotten, could never fade or diminish or disappear. It is simply what you are now. It is simply home. The golden light of the valley has given way to silver, and the silver has given way to darkness, and the darkness has given way to something beyond darkness, a space that has no color, no form, no qualities at all, just pure presence, pure awareness, pure being resting in itself. You do not need to think about Dorje Rinchen, the founder who carved this monastery from the living rock 1,000 years ago. But if his name drifts through your awareness, it brings only comfort, only connection, only the sense of being part of something much larger than yourself, a lineage of seekers and finders that stretches back through time and forward into a future you cannot see. You do not need to think about the face carved in the mountain, that 100-foot visage of compassion and peace. But if the image arises in your mind, it is soft and gentle, blessing you from within, watching over you with eyes that are closed and yet somehow see everything, that perceive your deepest truth and love you for it. You do not need to think about anything at all. The thinking has stopped now, or almost stopped, just occasional whispers of thought, drifting through the vast sky of your awareness, like clouds drifting across the face of the moon, present for a moment, and then gone, leaving no trace, changing nothing. The bed beneath you has become part of you, or you have become part of it, or there is no longer any difference between bed and body, between resting and the thing that rests, between sleep and the one who sleeps. Everything has merged into one continuous presence, one unbroken peace, one infinite rest. The blankets hold you, but you no longer feel them as separate from yourself. The warmth that wraps around you is your own warmth. The softness that cradles you is your own softness. The comfort that embraces you is the comfort of being exactly what you are, exactly where you are, exactly as you are meant to be. Far below, in the world you came from, life continues. Cities glow with their restless lights. People move through their days and nights, seeking what you have found, looking for the peace that you are now resting in. But all of that is very far away, very distant, like a dream remembered from long ago, like a story told about someone else, like a life that was once yours, but has now been transformed into something new, something deeper, something more true. You will return to that world. Tomorrow or the day after, you will begin the journey back through the passage in the mountain, back down to the villages and the roads and the ordinary reality that awaits. But you will not return as the same person who left. You will carry the secret with you, carry the peace, carry the knowing that has changed everything, and wherever you go, whatever you do, whoever you meet, something of this valley will go with you, will shine through you, will touch the world through your presence. But that is for later. That is for tomorrow. That is for a future self who will wake from this sleep refreshed and renewed, ready for whatever comes, ready to live from the truth that has been revealed. For now, there is only this, only rest, only peace. The night holds you, the darkness cradles you, the silence surrounds you. And you let yourself dissolve into it, let yourself become part of it, let yourself disappear into the vast, soft nothing that is also everything, that is also love, that is also home. Your name has faded, your history has faded. Your thoughts and memories and plans and fears have all faded into the gentle darkness, and what remains is pure presence, pure awareness, pure being, resting in itself, complete in itself, needing nothing, seeking nothing, simply here, simply now, simply at peace. The breath continues, but you no longer notice it. The heart continues, but you no longer feel it. The body rests, but you are no longer confined to it. You have expanded into something larger, something vaster, something that includes the body but is not limited to it, something that includes the room but extends beyond it, something that includes the valley and the mountains and the sky and the stars and everything that exists, all of it held in this one moment of perfect rest, this one eternal now that has no past and no future, only presence, only peace. The secret whispers one last time, so soft you can barely hear it, so gentle it might be your own voice or the voice of the mountains or the voice of the universe itself. You are loved, you are held, you are home. And then even the whisper fades, dissolves into the silence, becomes part of the vast peace that has no words, that needs no words, that is complete in itself, perfect in itself, whole in itself. And you rest. Deeper and deeper, softer and softer. The monastery fades, the valley fades, the mountains fade, the moon fades, everything fades, everything except the peace, everything except the love, everything except this moment, this breath, this rest, this home. And you sleep, deep and soft and warm, held by the night, cradled by the silence, loved by something that has no name, something that has always been here, something that will always be here, something that is you, and you rest, you rest, you rest. The darkness holds you, the peace fills you, the love surrounds you, and there is nothing else, nothing at all, only this, only rest, only peace, only home. The night continues, the stars turn, the universe breathes, and you sleep. You sleep, you sleep, deeper, softer, more and more still, until there is only stillness, only silence, only peace, only love, only rest, only this, only here, only now, only home. And the night goes on, and the silence holds, and the peace remains, and you rest. You rest, you rest. In the arms of the secret, in the heart of the valley, in the depths of the night, at home, at peace, at rest, forever, and ever, and ever. Rest now. Rest. Rest.